To cover this one, we have Shiew with us. Shiew is a senior art outsourcing manager at Riot Games. Uh, has more than 25 years of experience, but 20 years of relevant game experience, out of which she's been at EA for 14 good years, has worked on Sims, and lately she's been working at Riot. But unfortunately, the titles can't really be announced. Shui is known to building scalable art pipelines and mentoring global art teams. She's also a strong advocate for diversity, communication, and women in games. So without taking more time, I'll invite Shui to the stage. Welcome, Shui, and thank you so much. For honoring the Indian culture, making an effort to dress up in the Indian attire. All right.
Also, thank you, Lakshaya, for taking me shopping in Gurgaon. Hello, everyone. Create, curate, and conquer mastering your portfolio. Essentially, this session is helping you guys to learn how to make your portfolio stand out. Before I begin, I'd like to do the disclaimer that everything in the presentation are solely my personal opinion and experiences and do not represent those of Riot. Again, my name is Shiew Lo. I am originally from Malaysia, but I have been living in San Francisco for over 30 years. Most of my career, I worked at Sims for almost 14 years. And something happened? Oh, it happened here. Okay, sorry. Then I actually have worked on a lot of things like NFT, mobile games, so on and so forth. I also spent a year as a service provider. Most of my career is in external development. I, at current point, have to review a lot of portfolios. So I can see a lot of patterns and what people are trying to achieve and what they are trying to do. So this masterclass is meant for students. I actually first created it for students in academy as well as freelancers. And I added a few more slides to allow information for service provider. So there are several sections in this in this presentation. First of all, by the way, give me a second. Can you make it like a complete reflection of the screen here is a complete reflection? Thank you so much. And the second section is portfolios that connects with your client. And the third section is portfolios that tells your story. And the best portfolio to leave behind is you. And finally, growing your portfolio by giving. And first of all, making my portfolio stand out. Before I teach you how to make your portfolio stand out, I would like to share my personal journey. I started as an artist in 2002. I think a lot of you are still quite young. So my challenge is to understand my target audience. Who is looking at my portfolio and what are my resources that I have at hand. So remember, I was a student, not a lot of resources. So a lot of times I have to think outside the box. So let me show you what my art station looked like. Do you know what that is? It's called a video cassette tape. So back in the days, if you are a talent acquisition, or you guys call it a recruiter, you will be in a room much, much smaller than this. You will have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of video cassette tape in your office. And then you will have a video cassette tape player. You see, those people do not have the luxury of clicking through art stations. They have to pop the video cassette tape in the player. So imagine your portfolio is one of those video cassette tape. How do you make you stand out? Because you are not going to be there speaking for your portfolio, correct? So before I was a 3D artist, I actually started my career in 1998, 1999 as a graphic designer. And then I went up and down with the dot-coms. So I worked in the print shop and freelance as web and multimedia designer while going to school for 3D. So I actually self-made the booklet to be on the video cassette tape sleeve. So before the recruiter popped the cassette tape in the player, she or he can already see the content of the tape. Also, back then, when you are applying for the job, you have to print out the letter size resume, because what do? They have to file it. Today, you guys do everything digital, but back then, if you don't have this resume, they literally will throw your tape into the bin. Also, back then, if you don't rewind your video cassette to the front and they have to rewind it, they will also throw it into the trash. So there are a lot of logistics around that. So after they take the resume away, I still have a resume here that is kind of like a fold out. So my information is not lost. Again, I have also my business card in there. And I made a sleeve, and these are all my information in here. So what do you think comes after video cassette tape? DVD, CDs. And this is a time where Facebook just came out. There is no LinkedIn. So the success of each of my conferences is how many business cards I collected. However, when you go to a conference, you guys meet a lot of people, right? So in my business card, at the back of it, look, this is like collect them all. It says, I met Shiew at, and I always bring with me a pen so that the person that I met could write down where we met, what we talked about. That will help them remember me. Because again, there is no social media. This is, I actually have a physical Rolodex of all the business cards I collected, like A, B, C, D, E. So again, I have the DVD. In there, I have a little booklet, the printout, the DVD. So those are the things that I make myself stand out, because I was not able to be next to my portfolio when the recruiter opens it up. Another thing is, this is literally my art station. This is a physical portfolio. This is that face right here. In real life, is bigger than my face. When I carry it, I'm about 5 foot tall, 157 cm. So when I carry it, it's this big. So I'll carry it like this, and I'll walk around the conference, and that face will peek out, and you can see that face screaming at you from the end of the conference hall. So I use that as my personal walking billboard in a conference. Way back then, in 2002, 2004, GDC in San Francisco actually give students a free floor pass to go into GDC. They don't do that anymore, but back then they do. So what happened is, when you go into the floor, you're not allowed to go up to the talks, only the floor. But at the very back of the GDC hall, they set up a section for students that is called the job fair, the student job fair. So people like PDI, DreamWorks, ILM, Electronic Arts, they will set up booth there just for the student. And there'll be tons and tons and tons of students lining up, trying to show the people from the industry their portfolio, like their physical portfolio, hoping for an internship. I did it too. I went through all the lines. And after that, I'm like, this is not working. There is a sea of people. No one's gonna remember me. So how do I stand out? So this is also the time where I was about to graduate. In America, you graduate about May or June, and GDC is around March. So I needed a lot of money to graduate. And I was trying to get an internship or anything at all that could help me get more resources to graduate. So that was my situation. So after the job fair lining up and feel like that wasn't working, in GDC Hall, when you first go in, there's all this AAA company with loud music, big fancy booth. In the back of it, there's a lot of smaller booth by medium and smaller size company. So I was walking around that section, not knowing what is going to happen. I just walk around there slowly, and suddenly someone goes, "Hey, what's that?" And I went over and said, "Oh, this is my portfolio, da 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 da. I can do print, I can do graphic design, I can do web, I can do video, I can do 3D, whatever you need, I can do." And then he looked through my portfolio and he goes, "So what is your rate?" So at the time, I was trying to go through 3D training, and I was a web and graphic designer. I get paid $35 an hour. But I needed a lot of money. So with a poker face, I go $50 an hour. And immediately, my heart and my soul was yelling back at me and said, "Who the F is going to pay you $50 an hour? You are just a student that is in training for a little bit over a year, and you haven't graduated yet." And my heart was beating so fast, but you're trying to put on the poker face. After 30 seconds of silence, he goes, "I'll call you tomorrow. This is my card, and we'll talk tomorrow." And I said, "Thank you." I ran out of GDC Hall and started screaming on the street. So some of the things I did for them is, so this is already the character I have already created for the senior project. I just slapped the logo of the company. The company is called S3 Graphics. It's a Korean company. It's a competitor for NVIDIA. So they needed somebody to put their graphics together. So they needed a mascot. So I already have this 3D character, and I slap the logo of their logo on her cheek and sell it to them. And I get paid with the amount of time I made her. And this is something I created for their E3. So after I got a job here, I did a lot of things for them, including their merch. You know, at the downstairs, you get tote bags, you get a lot of merch, right? So this is some of the merch that I did for them. And then a week before E3, we were supposed to go to E3, and then we come back, and that's graduation. So before E3, I was working on my graduation pieces. And then I got a call from S3 Graphics and said, "You know, the graphic place that was supposed to design my E3, our E3 booth, they actually backed out on us. So can you design the E3 booth for us?" And it was a week before E3. At the time, I have to design the tote bag, the booth, as well as their video, because they have a screen running. So I have 5 housemates. Back then, we need to harvest your videos from a rendering farm because the computer at the time was not able to harvest and have the power to do videos very quickly. So I borrowed 5 computers from all my housemates and I harvested overnight. And then we went to E3, and it's quite surreal to see my own design in one of the little booths. Most of you can do 10 times better than what I did back then, but hey, I got paid $50 an hour for it. Now let's talk about you. Portfolios that connects with your client. A lot of times I run into people or artists or studios that show me their portfolio. Some of them are 100 pages. And when we, from the developer side of things, when we look at portfolio, most of the times we have meetings all day. And after dinner is the time that we can actually do the actual work. By the time we look at the portfolios, it's almost midnight and we are exhausted. So do you think we have energy to look at several portfolios that are 100 pages? So you need to really understand who your target audience is and what they are looking for. So also, you're in India, but we are talking about around the world, especially when I'm talking to service providers as well. There are two kinds of culture. I'm from Malaysia, so it's predominantly hierarchical culture, right? When your dad tells you to do something, you said yes, you don't question anything. Same with your teacher. Lateral culture is you kind of have a more lateral, you call your teacher by their first name. There's a lot of emphasis on individual contributor. So when you are working with a lateral culture, they actually want partners that can learn and grow with them. They don't want a soldier, right? So someone they are comfortable working closely with. What does that mean? They need to see a portfolio where they are able to proactively discuss with you different things and you are throwing ideas back and forth with them. But most people from hierarchical cultures are very shy because we are told not to ask questions. But in lateral culture, they want you to ask questions. They want people who are leaders in their own right. They are proactive in coming up with creative solutions because when you build a game, there are a lot of pain points, there are a lot of challenges. A lot of times when lateral culture hired an external partner, they want someone who have more expertise than them in order to overcome a certain hump. And hierarchical culture, what they are looking for is consistency and and people who are reliable. They usually want to see the end result. So if you can tell them things that you can comprehend their requests and you can produce consistent work with consistent quality, that is what they're looking for. They usually also come with a big list of problems. They don't want to know exactly how you fix it. They just want you to fix it. Usually, lateral culture wants to understand how you are going to tackle that problem. So how do you show that off in your portfolio? So usually people from lateral culture, especially game developers, they used to be engineers. They used to be artists, but today they may be a technical director, they may be an art director, but they know what it's like to do day-to-day work. So they are closer to the day-to-day work. Progression is very vital to them. They want to see the messy. Making games is messy. Making art is messy. Trying to figure out a problem is messy. So a lot of times, all the portfolios that I receive is way too beautiful. We cannot tell what kind of artist you are. We need to see the sketches, the raw ideas, so we understand your chain of thought, how you tackle that ideas. So how do you go from 0 to 1? Your mood board, your thumbnails, your processes, your workflow. Also, they want to work with somebody that they are comfortable with. With COVID, I noticed, especially in North America, and people who are more introvert, they lost the way to do small talks because they don't have to go into an office and bump into their CEO when they are trying to get coffee. They are not walking down the hallway and have to say hi to their coworker and talk about, I don't know, children or travels or things like that. So some hierarchical culture even views small talks as waste of time. However, with lateral culture, they want to know what you are like when you are not working, right? A lot of times when I'm hiring talent, we spend the last 5 minutes understanding who they are as a human being when they are not on their computer screen. For hierarchical culture, those people are stakeholders that are closer to the strategy. So there are senior teams who need to understand how they are going to steer and curate the company's growth trajectory. End result are vital. So if you are talking to executive producer, CEO, all of that, yeah, you have to show them something pretty because they want to see the end result because they don't understand the progression. Another thing is they need someone to address their challenges. Again, they don't want to know how you fix it, they just want it fixed. So understanding who your audience is very important. You should not only have just one portfolio, you should have multiple. Again, when you speak their language, they would know what it is like working with you. So another thing is understanding the project and the request. What are the key criteria? A lot of times when I meet up with freelancers, service provider, they just went through everything that they did under the sun. I remember when I was working for mobile game company, this BD came up and introduced all the services from mocap to film to cinematic, and mobile is the last 2 minutes. I only need that last 2 minutes. That means he didn't do his homework. He didn't understand who his target audience is or what platform we are working on. So when you are a freelancer, you have to ask your potential client which platform they are working on, what kind of communication platforms they are using. Do you know how to use those? All this platform, all this app, is it familiar to you? What kind of tools are they using? Are they proprietary? Do you need to know Maya, Blender, Photoshop? Do they provide the hardware for you? Or do you have to use your own hardware? Usually with AAA company, you cannot use your personal hardware, especially if you are working with a studio. You have to work on enterprise-owned hardware because of the security. Otherwise, the company will send you their hardware to work on so that the information is secure. Again, what kind of art style? A lot of times people will come to, for example, a friend of mine. He has open world and it is hyper-realistic. Another BD came to him and showed everything from chibi style to this and that, and it's not something that he's working on. So again, every time someone comes to me, I always tell people, do you know what kind of style Arcane is? It's not hyper-realistic. It's semi-realistic, semi-stylized. It's very Japanese anime inspired. Did you know that? What kind of limitation do you have? Do you need this work in 3 months, 6 months? Who do I have to work with? And what kind of budget do you have? How do you position yourself in terms of rate? Those are the information you need from your potential client. Security protocol. When you're working on indie game, unannounced project, film, they have a lot of confidentiality that you need to gain trust from your potential client. Let's say you work from home. Is your screen facing a high traffic? Do you have an older sibling that comes in and say, oh, it's cool, take a photo and put it on Instagram? You're so fired. So these are things that you really need to talk about and say, no, I work in this kind of position. And studios, segregated rooms, those are very, very important. So customize your portfolio to match the requirement of your potential client. It's very, very key. Portfolios that tells your story. Who are you? A lot of times I tell service provider, your portfolio are too beautiful. If I throw all the portfolio out there and remove all your logos, do you know which one is yours? For example, a lot of Japanese companies, they only allow you to show the front cover. They don't allow you to show anything else. Another thing is, a lot of service providers worked on the same game, Last of Us, Borderlands, and they only show that few screenshots. Which part of it did you work on? Did you work on the environment? Did you work on the rig? There is no explanation in the portfolio. Another thing is a lot of art stations, it just say, I hope you like it. But why did you make this character? Where is your inspiration? What does the character look like? Why does it have 3 eyes? Is it red? Why is it red? How does it eat? Does it have any enemies? Does it have families? Does it have a race? Does it have different ways of transportation? Did you build a world around it? Did you build a story around it? You need portfolios that resonate with your target audience. So showing progress, this is where it is very, very important. Again, the industry is too saturated with beautifully rendered work that do not show what the art is made of, why the art is made. So you need your mood board, your backstory, inspirational references, initial ideation, because we want to see your failures. How many times did you, how many ways did you attack this problem area before you come to this conclusion? Progression from 0 to 1, your thumbnail sketches, workflow, fill attempts, design pivots, explanation of tech tools and app use. So again, what kind of tech did you use in order to produce this art? Sometimes the beautiful rendered work, it doesn't even tell me, is it Unreal? Is it Unity? Is it a proprietary software? How long did it take to make this? How many people was involved? So those are the information that was just like question mark, question mark, question mark. Duration of creation and team size is important because it takes a village to make a game, especially a AAA game. If you're part of it, you should say, oh, I made the rig for it. We did the lighting. No, we are a co-developer. So we make most of this environment, and my client make the other environment. Or I'm a full developer, so I make everything, right? Highlight your best, omit the rest. Again, remember the 100-page portfolio? Make sure that you put your best foot forward. Make sure you put your best work in the front instead of at the back. When we are too tired, we hardly go past page 10. When nothing resonates with us, we just swipe left and move on to the next. I even see art stations. You know, art station, you have different things, and then you click on one, and it goes in to see more things. A lot of the art stations put their worst in the front and their best. When you open up in the web design, the first 6 things you see, or 9 things you see, is it the best work, or do they have to scroll up to see your best work in the ground? So those are strategies you need to think about. Less is more. Ability to showcase your capabilities in a very concise manner highlights how you communicate. For example, if I need to see stylized character and you put a bunch of environment in there, you put a bunch of realistic characters in there, do you think it's going to resonate with your potential client? No, right? Because that's not what they are looking for. Best of 3 and a case study. So the best portfolios are around 30 to 40 pages. Don't go over 50. Try to put, if you are a service provider, try to put an introduction of your studios in the front, starting with where you are in the world. A lot of people don't understand where India is. They know what India is. How much overlap time do you have with your potential client if they are in Europe, if they are in North America? And that's the East Coast and West Coast. If you could show that in the portfolio, it will help them overcome certain challenges. They know how and when to communicate with you, whether you have enough overlap time. Again, what kind of culture do you and values does your studio have? Those are things that you can put in the front. Some studios will do like, oh, we have processes like this, security protocols, so on and so forth. 3 pages of that, great, 3 to 4. And then you move on to your best of 3 or 5. If they are looking for environment that is stylized, put 3 to 5 of your best environment there. Use one of them as a case study. So from 0 to 1, how did you create that environment? What are the sketches? What did your client tell you? What are the briefs look like? And then what are the pivots, right? Before you come to the final render. User experience in portfolio design. User experience in something that a lot of people take for granted. That means the experience of the user when they are looking at your portfolio. And sometimes the portfolio has too many words. You need to also understand the color. If your background is too dark, what kind of color should you be using? Right? So that your user have a smooth time analyzing and comprehending who you are. Another thing is, there was one portfolio, and I was doing it at 11:30 at night. It was using career type. I could not read it. I was so tired. I tried to turn on the brightness of my screen. I could not read anything. Yeah, maybe he or she is qualified, but I don't know because I cannot read it. So that is part of the user experience. And how you put and arrange the information, how much is it? That was one portfolio where it has some good information, but it has a gift, animated gift on the side that is him himself going like this. And I was trying to read, and that thing kept going, and I was like, I couldn't read it. I just could not. So that is part of the user experience. I know what he's trying to say. He's trying to say, I'm just this laid-back guy, and I'm passionate with what I'm, but it just doesn't work. So when you finish your portfolio, ask your friend to analyze it. What is your fresh take on reading my portfolio? Does it work? Can you read who I am? Again, another thing for service provider is highlight your history and show off your community. Sometimes a founder who have went through a lot of times they tend to highlight themselves too much and overshadow the people that works for them. Oh, I worked in the industry for 20 years. These are all the awards. There's like 2 pages before I can see what kind of work they are doing. You need to learn how to highlight people who contribute to the studios. And so why is your company established? And how did you come together? I have many different beautiful stories, even for emerging studios. One of the studios I was telling in another presentation, my friend from EA, I worked with them almost 5 or 10 years, I can't remember, but he went back home to Trinidad. And then he became a teacher teaching 3D character art. And when his student graduate, they couldn't find job. It's not like India where you have EA here, you have all these service providers, you have so much opportunity here. And then you have the indie game community. There's nothing there. There's nothing in Trinidad. So what did he do? He set up the service providers so that his student can have a job. They can have an exposure. That is very touching. So a lot of people actually was moved by that and gave him a chance. And he's also trying to highlight their strengths because African American hair is really, really hard to duplicate. So that's what they specialize in. People that make up your company, who are they? Who are there in the beginning? And how did it grow? What does diversity look like? A lot of times when I look at studios, it's a bunch of males or a bunch of male of a certain color. You need to show diversity. Sometimes diversity might not be color and it might not be gender. However, how you show off your community to show that you have people coming from different type of background, which means this place is a safe place for many different kinds of information and resources. And this help the potential client know that you have created this safe haven for your community. That resonate with them. And then another thing is, people who stayed with you, a lot of times they say 50% of our studios have been with us since the beginning. That says a lot, right? Some of those studios are over 10 years old. Reason they stay with the company. I love India because a lot of the companies, they've been with that company for 10, 15, 20 years. It is like family. They don't leave the company unless something happens. It is resonating with everything. The company itself invests a lot in each member of the studio. That speaks a lot. I don't want to train up artists and then have them leave, right? So you are showing potential client that you are stable. You are creating a strong community here. So strength and expertise. If you cannot do something, be transparent with it. Tell the potential client, this is where I'm trying to be, but this is where I am. So if you don't, and you try to say, I actually met a studio and they have 6 people. I said, what do you do? And they go, I do everything. I'm like, So be very mindful of how you introduce your company. And also, highlight your top projects and who are your expertise. A lot of times, some studios will highlight the anatomy of the studio. Let's say they have 50 people, so they have 5 riggers, 5 people, another 5 who are administration, and then another 10 that are 2D concept artists. That really help us understand where you are and how you like to grow. The best portfolio to leave behind is you. A lot of people, especially freelancers, forget that. Showcase your non-creative hard skill, because if you're working from around the world, a lot of people don't understand Indian actually speaks English. Same with Malaysia and Philippines. I'm telling them they speak English, they just looked at me. So those are the things that you can say, how well you can communicate in those languages. You can say, oh, I can communicate in English, and this is the proficiency. Some service provider will say, oh, this is professional proficiency. Oh, they are not professional, but they are able to communicate like day to day. Or they speak a little bit less proficient, but they are able to carry a conversation. So those are the things that you can highlight on. Another thing is location and time zone. Where are your Today we work from home. So where are you? How much overlap time? What are your core hours? I even have a Brazilian. He moved to Amsterdam for a better quality of life for his family. But he works when his family goes to sleep. But he doesn't mind it. So those are the things that you need to put out. What are your rates? There are short-term rates and long-term rates as well. So also put negotiation upon comprehension of the request, because you get different kind of requests, right? But a lot of us developer have to have a number to start off with. A lot of times I meet service provider who say, I don't know the rate until I see what you're trying to say. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I need to see your hard number first to get a rough estimate before I can even get approval to talk to you. Interests, passion, hobbies. Again, who you are when you're not working. For example, one of the project I worked with was 2XKO. And we are trying to, fighting game is a very niche community. We happen to hire someone who was part of the fighting game community. We didn't even have to explain a lot of things to them, right? Another thing is, if you are working on things like, basketball, football, if you hate football, do you think they're going to hire you? But if you really love football and you breathe and, live football and you're working on football, we know you're going to put on your 200% because that is your passion. So we really want to know what kind of person you are. That is very important. So a lot of times COVID have removed the sandpaper in the life of artists. So small talks, when you go into a network, a mixer, how do you talk to someone you don't even know without looking awkward, right? You have to try to do practices. Interviews are great too. Apply to many different kind of jobs. especially you have nothing to lose. You just practice interviewing, right? Those are the things that you can get your soft skills improved. So social skills are defined, social abilities that are defined by how you work and interact with others. A lot of times, there are people who are emotionally illiterate. So that means they don't have the ability to see things from other people's point of view. That is very important skill set that I need when I'm working into a team. What kind of soft skill do you have? Social skills. So you have to learn how to talk to people. And when you're working closely in crunch time with people, how are you carrying yourself? Are you too aggressive? Are you too straightforward? Do you not talk at all? So those are the things that you need to learn. Also, public presentation. How do you present your work? Are you confident? Do you say something bad about your work before you even start presenting it? Because I see that a lot. Like, oh, my work is not as good as the last person, but here it is. I'm like, let me be the judge of that. Don't say anything bad about your work. And cultural fit. Hello, hello. We need to know what kind of person that we are working with so closely. So a lot of times we are not looking for even seniors. How I source partners are we look at the portfolio, and if the portfolio is a good fit, that means you have the ability to produce the craft. But now I need to see what kind of human being you are. That means a cultural fit. We need someone that we are comfortable being around because we will be around each other a long time. And another thing you should ask yourself is, when someone hear your name, what is the first thing they think about? Is it negative or positive? So how do you get you to stand out? So it leads me to the last section, which is growing your portfolio by giving. What does that mean? When you want something, like when you really, 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 really want something, give. Your return will be twice-fold. Give back. Give thanks. This way, your body language and your facial expression will amplify that. Do you want to work with somebody who have a chip on their shoulder? No, right? But if you work with someone that has so much to give and have full of gratitude, it makes the hard times easier. So we don't have too much time, but I have a story where when I started working, studying as a 3D artist, I felt bad for the PR person. We were the first school that gave out game design degrees, but no one wants to talk to the PR person. So I felt bad for him, and I give him every single finished artwork that I can ever have. One day, I took the metro to work, the BART, and when I arrived at my school and I came out, all the billboard was my character. And then when I come out to Market Street of San Francisco, there are light posts, and under the light posts, there are advertisements. And those are all my advertisements. And when I walk into the school, the PR person say, hey, do you want a mouse pad? So I have a mouse pad with my character on it, which I could not afford to reproduce at the time. Today, they are cheaper. And back then, we don't have social media, so we buy this magazine called Computer Graphics that tells you everything about the industry. And my work is spread out inside. Another thing is, we were really desperate, very, very desperate art student. But we wanted to approach the industry people, the veterans. We wanted to talk to people who work at PDI, Sony. So we created a student chapter because we found out the next closest student chapter is in LA. So we worked hard to give back to our school what we wanted and created opportunity for our students to volunteer at IGDA, at SIGGRAPH, at E3, and it became really successful. I even have a panel where I invited people who works on Matrix, who worked at ILM, DreamWorks, and it was so popular that we have to stop people coming in at the door. So joint effort to create a meetup opportunity, so there is opportunity for you guys to learn from one another. And after doing that, think about things like, how can I help? Master the job of things that no one wants to do. That's how I survived the industry. I got into outsourcing art when 20 years ago, no one wanted that job. Today, outsourcing is by default something everyone had to do, sometimes even the indie game. So come into the space and don't ask, what can my company do for me? What can he do for me? Start with yourself and go, what can I do for everyone else? My ability to effectively utilize my left and right brain helped me to land that job in outsourcing. I was a good artist, but I wasn't the best artist. However, when I start outsourcing, I was able to bridge cultural. I was able to bridge languages because I speak 5. And I was able to analyze things using my organizational skills as well as my creative skills. One of the things I did also when I started as Sims 4 environment outsourcing lead was understanding the procedural and modular system. In 2010, we don't have another game that we can reference it because there was nothing like Sims. We have ceiling, there are 3 different heights. We have wall angle, there are 3 wall angles. And those are things that we are doing for the first time. We also have authoring guides that are 200 pages. So the concept artists are unable to understand what they have to do in order to draw. So I recreate documentation that allow them to read 5 to 10 minutes, and they are able to draw in a way that we can use. So as service provider, this is what you can do. You can provide your community by encouraging your employee to teach at local institutions. Many regions lack proper academic courses, and even if they do, it is a lot of times very expensive for locals. Offer up your office space for community events like hackathon, workshop, watch party like, the Game Award, speaking engagements, create opportunity to close the gap. That is a big gap between newly grads and industry-ready talent. So offer up internship, workshop, etc. that can properly provide mentorship and guidance. And when your full-time employee mentor and guide others, they will also level up themselves in terms of soft skill and leadership skills. Provide for the underserved community. They might be regions or genders or social economy, people from certain social economy, that it is much harder to provide that opportunity. For example, I know Lakshya has an academy for women in Hyderabad. Because of the Asian culture, it is harder for women to work in the industry. And in Bay Area, we have something called Girls Who Code. We're encouraging girls to become engineers and provide them the tools and skills to do so. And pay for and get grant for industry vets to come, give short-term workshop. So service provider can pay someone like me or my friends who have no job right now because they are being impacted to come to India and get a workshop, like 2 weeks and stuff. The community will benefit from it. The person might fell in love with India and want to move here, and then she actually could get a job. Make it virtual. If you don't have that kind of resources or money, you can get virtual workshop where the person being impacted can share their skills while people who want to learn can learn for free. And this way, the person who is being impacted get free publicity, right? also build your community and provide support. A current climate with massive layoff and burnouts, people who still have job actually have burnout because now they're doing 2 or 3 people's job, right? So provide your time, your energy to spend time with those that are being impacted. If you can, rally up communities so that you guys can give each other support that you need. This is some of the hiking trips that I did after XDS and GDC. In GDC, we hiked at Angel Island, and that was some of the service provider told me, this is the first time I actually talked to another service provider, because the previous time I come in, I talk to potential client and I go home. But then when I talk to another service provider, even when they are from another part of the world, I feel like we have the same challenges. And these are, so in Philippines, they have a new administration. For XDS, they used to have that paid by the government. But the recent administration, they were not able to get that granted. So 5 of them actually come together to pay for that booth, to have a booth there. And when I asked to meet the service provider, they actually said, well, can you meet all 5 of us or else we won't meet you? So I met all 5 of them. Work with each other to level up your community. When life gives you lemons, you use it to make an impact. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Shiew, for such an informative session and inspirational stories as well. All right. So time for Q&A. All right.
Yeah, hi, good evening. My name is Trishul Asrani, and firstly, thank you for the informative session. Okay, so when we usually work outside in the industry, because of our deadlines, we usually know how to schedule and develop and also deliver our final outputs. But me personally, when I work on my personal projects or if I want to upload something on ArtStation, I always have this drive and determination to keep improvising and continuing on the polish. Yeah. So I've never been able to find my breaking point. So it's always like not working for what's enough. It's always working for what's more than enough. So where do I stop is my question.
So artists, this is very common for artists. Enough is not enough. Good is not good enough. You always try to make it better. But my advice is sometimes you could have 2 or 3 projects going on at the same time, right? You can work on one thing while taking a break from the other. Because if you keep forcing yourself to do the same thing, you will lose your inspiration and creative juice on it. Sometimes go outside and take a walk. Go out and travel. When you learn more about life, you know all this experience will help you to make your art even richer and deeper. For example, if you have never been through life, how do you create a Pixar movie storyline? Right? Do you guys cry with the characters in Pixar because someone went through it? Right? So those are the things that you need to think outside the box, outside of your Cintiq, outside of your screen, in order to bring more life to your work. At the same time, you also need to do the basic. I actually met someone here who showed me that he has an exercise where he will make 1 illustration a day. So he only have 1 or 2 hours a day to make it, but he do it most of the days, just to make sure that his skill is right, still there.
Thank you. Anyone? Yeah.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for everything that you have told us. It was very inspiring. My main question is, I don't have that much expertise or experience playing games like normally people do, but I've struggled with finding where in the pipeline I fit in, or where, like, I love games, but I don't know what I would do to, make that game better.
Oh, I can totally resonate with you. I am not a gamer at all. If I have time, I want to stop looking at the screen. I work out a lot and I hike a lot. My normal walking steps per day is over 10,000. I have a walking treadmill under my desk. But when I make a game, for example, my NFT game was a Formula E game. So I have to do a lot of research on Formula One. Is that my genre? Is that my passion? Not really, but it's a work for hire. But I went on Netflix to watch that reality show about Formula One. I forgot the name of it. I even watched a lot of movies, like one of Matt Damon that's about Ferrari. I watch everything, play all the games just to understand how to make that game. When I worked for The Sims, I was creating environment from scratch. I have to study all the architecture, I had to study interior design, I watch HGTV, I studied a lot of color theories and interior design principles before I even apply my craft to my work. But if you ask me if I like playing games, not really, but I'm very good at making it.
Thank you.
Anyone?
I like stupid questions, so please keep it coming.
Hello. Thank you for the awesome talk. Like the presentation was really good. But one thing that I'm wondering, like when we are creating a portfolio, it's especially like when it's 3D animation. So how would we go about presenting it to the client? Like how do we present our 3D animations? Like do we do just a demo reel? Or if we have to break it down, then how do we present it to the client so that they can watch the animation closely while still being able to read the story of me behind that shot, like how I approached that shot or how I tackled it. I want to tell it to them. So what do you think would be the best way to present that?
Again, progression. A lot of times when I see animation, it is already have the effect, the lighting, everything. And it kind of blinded me from the actual work of the animation. And it hindered me from seeing the raw animation skills of the artist. So I would say, let's say you have a 30-second clip. Try not to go over 1 minute, actually, because most of us don't really have that much attention span. 30 minutes is gold. And you can do something like block out. Sometimes your block out is just storyboards, right? Right? And then you do like your video. You sometimes act it out, right? You can put that in. Put that in right after block out. And then you put your rig. You just animating that rig. And then you animate the actual 3D character, whatever it is. And then finally, add in everything. Does that make sense?
Yep, perfectly.
Yep.
Thank you.
Going back to one point that you said to give to people and like to give back, which is a very good reminder. But is there any distinction that maybe you thought of like, okay, I'll give it to this person, maybe I'll give some of my, but I won't give some of my work to some people because this is just a thought that I had because sometimes you have this thought that what if people are taking advantage of you or what if you keep on giving but sometimes you don't get anything in return. So should you still keep going or what was your thought process?
A lot of times, well, I went through a lot in my life. I'm a single mom of 2 kids. I got a lot of hurdle in my career as well as personal life. The only way that I could heal myself is to give. And it did take quite a few years before I see the fruit of the labor, especially when I didn't realize my children was actually observing me giving. They are observing me react to things that happen in my life. And today, I will have to say they are a great human being to be around. Another thing is, you will always be taken advantage of. it will happen. But how you react to it is something that you can control. You can hold grudges, or you can learn to forgive, even though that person didn't change. How you move on in your life, those are life skills that train you and mature you as a human being. If you have a smooth sailed life, I don't think you will ever learn.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. Ma'am, I've been studying UX for a long time now, for over 3 years. I was wondering if I could get into game development as well. So how does game development and UI UX exactly align? I understand the UI part, but not exactly the UX part. I mean, there has to be there, but how?
When somebody first go into your game, what do they see? Let's say you are a first-person shooter. The experience of that person first going into your lobby and figuring out what kind of character and then going into the game, those experiences are part of the game information that you need to collect. Do they understand where to go? So, for example, even open space, I'm sorry, my brain is not working. Even play games that have a lot of environment, how do you guide your player to go from one point to another? Those are things that you actually is part of user experience. After, that was a game I bought. I won't say which game, but I prefer God of War, but I bought something similar. But when I first went into it and customized my character, there was so many different kind of control that I got lost. And I tried to spend 10 minutes making my character, but I was in there for 30 minutes and didn't know how to get out. But with God of War, I can go straight into the gameplay really easy. I can know how to move left or right. There's different pointers, and sound to the audio is a pointer for me to, oh, the danger is coming, right? And the lighting, oh, look over here. Those are part of user experience. And how long did the player stay in your game? Did they hate it and quit immediately? Did they stay for days and days? Do they not want to put down the controls? Those are part of the user experience. Do they understand what you want them to know and go and do? Those are all user experience.
Okay, we are out of time now and prepared for the next one too. So wasn't it a super session, guys? Let's put our hand together to say thanks to Shiew. Thank you, Shiew.
Take a photo.
Oh, I'll come here.
Yeah.
I won't miss the chance.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks everyone for the session.
Thank you.